Joshua Grannell, but often better known as Peaches Christ. When I was young, I really, wanted to be offensive and transgressive and in your face. I grew up Catholic in Annapolis, Maryland, a very conservative Catholic school. It was terrifying at that time to think of doing drag. I think I was interested in it, but it would have been social suicide. It would have been dangerous, quite frankly, back then in the late 80s, early 90s, for me to have tried it. I didn't name myself after Jesus so that I could go to church. I was pissed and angry and gothic. So I decided, well, why don't I take this name that had been used in many ways to instill fear in me and make people laugh and entertain them and do stuff that makes me happy. So in a sense, it's kind of a way of reclaiming something that I grew up with my whole life.
Welcome to Queerguru, and we appreciate you getting up so early in the morning. And we're going to put a picture of you as Peaches Christ beside you, just so people recognize you in men's drags.
Right.
Let's start by dispelling a rumor that you are in fact not the legitimate daughter of Mink Stole, who's your friend. Good luck.
I can see why that rumor exists, but if you know Mink, she is way too young looking to have a daughter this old. So no, I am not her daughter, although I would be proud to be.
Very polite. So we're here today to talk to you because you're about to perform in one of our favourite events, and what a queer festival in East London, with Mink in Idol Worship. Without giving it all away, can you give us a clue what we can expect?
Well, I've been working with Mink and doing these shows for almost 20 years now. She was the first celebrity that I ever invited to come to San Francisco and do one of my shows.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first started, it was just me sitting down and interviewing her because her career and her life and, everything is so amazing. But as we became friends over the years and started doing more and more shows, and I realized that Mink has a band and an album, and she can, she's a cabaret performer.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to turn what we were doing into more of a cabaret show meets a chat show. So it's both interviews as well as some singing, and of course we show the movie clips. So it's a bit of a variety of things.
If you've been living on another planet, we should tell you that Mink Stole was in every single John Waters film, and she's costume used. So another rumour, is it a mere coincidence that you are jetting off to London just when there were 2 spare titles in the royal family?
That may not be a coincidence. Yeah, we'll see. That'd be pretty amazing if she and I came back, or never came back. Maybe we'll stay there.
You're no virgin to London because you've done 3 successful tours and you got quite a following. But isn't this Mink's first time actually performing here?
Yes, which completely blows me away because there is such a fandom for John Waters films and Mink Stole and Divine. I mean, one of the things I got to do a few years ago was go to Andrew Logan's Glass House and tour with Andrew and get to see all of the fantastic archives from the alternative Miss World and Divine hosting.
That's a big treat.
Right, it was amazing, and so I went back and said to Mink, like, oh, did you ever go to the alternative Miss World? Did you do this? She said, no, I've really not done much in England. And I said, well, we have to change that. I think, the UK would go wild to see you.
Absolutely.
And hear your stories. Yeah.
What do you like about Brit audiences opposed to American ones then?
I'll say this. I feel like the British audiences have a lot in common with San Francisco and Provincetown, where there's a real appreciation for what I would consider to be alternative drag performances. In the U.S., a lot of drag performance, the majority of it happens in nightlife, and it's lip syncing and disco, and dancing, which I love. I love all of that. But it's less theatrical. And what I do is, I'm a playwright, and I like to stage, plays. And I will say that because I think because of the history of panto
Yeah,
and and drag in the UK, that the audiences get what we do immediately.
yeah,
There's no learning curve. Whereas in
yeah.
the US, if I go to a city like Denver or something, there's a real kind of confusion. Like, what is this? Drag queens have to memorize a script. We've never seen this before.
So,
Not in England. It's
yeah.
it's it's completely understood.
So would he drag Mink Stole around the East End alternative London, the Glory and the Sigma Pink, which you must love.
I love all of that. I mean, one of my favorite events over there, which has actually inspired
Mm-hmm.
something I'm working on right now, it was when I went to a show that Baby Lame did, an after party for one of our shows at
Yeah.
the Bethnal Green Working
Yeah,
Men's
that's a
Club.
great venue.
Isn't that great?
It's such a because now that I'm no longer a Londoner, but the centre of London is now the East End. No one goes to the
Right,
West End. Hmm.
right. It's
Um,
amazing.
but before you fly to London, though, you're going to
Mhm.
cross the country to come my way because I believe you're going to Fort Lauderdale to hook up your drag sister, Vala G. Merman. Can we talk
Yes.
about that?
Well, we're not going to hook up, thank God.
Well, she's recently married. People,
Yes, that's right.
I
I don't
interviewed.
think that stop. I don't think that stops her. Let me tell you.
Oh
Uh,
no, 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 no! You're not a daddy figure.
exactly. There's no kai there. We're real
Yeah.
sisters. And yeah. So Varla and I actually have collaborated now. We're working on our third project.
Mhm.
Together, which we are hoping is going to be for television. We'll see. But the second project we ever collaborated on was a show called First Wives Fight Club that we co-wrote, and I presented it in San Francisco with a cast. And unfortunately, Varla could not be part of that show. And then she took the show and she did it all summer long in Provincetown. And unfortunately, I was unable to
Mm.
be in Provincetown last summer. So now in Florida, we finally get to do our show together. So this will be a first for us. We've never performed it together.
You'll be at the Sunshine Cathedral.
Yes.
Yeah, with an Irish, because I think when we last met, it was when you were in P Town, and one of you told me that the way you wrote this is you would write pages, send them to her, she'd write pages and send them to you, which is a weird way of
Yes.
collaborating, but very successful. Do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah, in fact, that's the last time I saw you in P Town. You had a great success there. Have you had plans to come back? Maybe bring Mink with you, as John Waters does live there.
Well, what's funny is Idol Worship, the first time we ever did it was in Provincetown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she and I created that show 3 summers ago when I was there doing Return to Grey Gardens
Hmm.
with Jinx. She and I did a few weekends of Idol Worship at the Art House Theater. So that's actually where it was born,
Never
the whole
knew that.
concept.
I must have been asleep.
Yeah, and
I was asleep that weekend.
okay, yes. And what was very surreal about that was the first time we ever did it, John, of course, is sitting right in the audience.
Yeah,
So there's nothing stranger than talking about someone,
yeah.
who's 20 feet away.
But he would have loved it though.
Oh, he was great. I mean, he was, and she and he, they're family. So,
Mm.
she would be telling a story and then she'd look over at him and say like, yeah, that's how it happened, right? Isn't that how and it was so intimate and sweet, kind of once in a lifetime
Yeah.
type of show, to see those two, I could sit in a room with the two of them listening to them tell stories for
And
hours.
John doesn't mind as long as you're still talking about him.
That's right. But I mean, who wouldn't want to? There's
Yeah.
no more extraordinary life.
Yeah. So, do you have plans to go on with this show afterwards?
Yeah. So, I'm really loving that I get to go to London
Hmm.
so frequently now. So I'm there with the And What festival with Mink in March, but I go back to London in May to do a run with the Soho Theatre again. This time it's Adam's Apple Family Values with me and Jinx and Sharon Needles.
Hmm.
But right after that, I fly from London to Montreal and meet up with Mink Stole, where we do idol worship in Montreal. So Mink and I have now been doing idol worship. For 3 years, whoever wants to
Yeah.
bring us and book us,
Yeah.
we would love to hear from you and come and do it. And honestly, there's no one else I prefer to share a stage with, because for me, growing up as a young dork in Maryland, I grew up in Maryland,
Yeah.
discovering John and Mink and Divine, it really changed my life. And so to get to put her on a pedestal and present her to fans the way and ask all the stories they want to hear.
Yeah.
It has been nothing but a joy for me.
You're glad you said that. It's a really beautiful thing to say about her. We have a London team. We'll be in your audience for your show, and we'll also be in the audience for there's a special screening of Pink Flamingos, and Mink is doing a Q&A afterwards, and we'd be back to see you at the Soho Theatre because we live there too as well.
Oh, great!
Yeah, because London at the moment is going through a wonderful explosion of queer theatre, which covers a whole spectrum, which we are very excited about. I live in Miami and Provincetown. Provincetown is well served, but Miami is not. So it's exciting for us to cover London. Have a great trip. Thanks for talking to us again.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you maybe in Provincetown soon.
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Most drag queens in the world are doing it because they have to, because they love it, because it's an outrageous expression of who they truly are. A lot of people ask how I'm different from the Peaches Christ character, and I've given it a lot of thought, and I get to have a lot more fun. It's a lot easier for me to entertain a crowd. Joshua is working on it. I'm not much of a partier. I'm not very outrageous. I think I get a lot out of my system through being Peaches. All of this armor really helps me channel what I want to express. As cheesy as it sounds, I believe that I, Peaches Christ, was the vehicle or the gateway that allowed Joshua to love himself. It's really hard when you grow up queer, almost anywhere, to love yourself fully. But I think it's through doing Peaches that Joshua was able to kind of fully embrace himself and say, you know what, I'm not going to be president anytime soon, so I might as well do whatever the fuck I want, and trying to make a living doing what I love, and it's worked out.